Your thoughts on this team in the postseason now on their way out to Omaha, a very confident bunch.
Yeah, and Tibs individually, like last weekend, he got asked a lot of questions about not having his best weekend at the plate, or he got asked questions like Jarrett got asked questions in the regional, and I almost didn't even want to address it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a great hitter. He didn't have a good weekend. He was frustrated because the teams in the regional were pitching around him, threw him all off speed. He went chasing a few things to try to make something happen, and it worked against him, which is what happens. But this weekend was the complete opposite. He didn't chase any of that stuff. And then, as you said, he got ahead in the counts, and then it was lights out. And just incredible. One of the all-time great performances we'll ever see. 3 2-run homers in a game, including one in the 12th inning. It's just incredible, and great end locally, at least in Tallahassee, for his career at Florida State. And we'll see what he does out in Omaha. But it's really cool for him. And then, yeah, man, as a team, it's just it was fun to watch them celebrate. They celebrated for a long time, and they deserve to celebrate for a long time because, just a year ago, think about the misery of that team. I asked Link a couple weeks ago about, after the games, when he takes the team to right field to break down the games after the games, he does it immediately after the game. They don't get to just go in the clubhouse where it's cool and decompress. As soon as the last out is recorded, he takes them out in the right field. And he talks to them for about 10 minutes. And that's fine to do when you're winning. But, man, they did that 20-something straight times last year. I mean, how miserable does that have to be? But, think of how rewarding it is now. It's just I don't know if any team that's gone to Omaha recently has gone through what they went through just 1 year earlier. So it's really cool.
I said in hour number 1, Ira, that I think there is an air of inevitability to Link Jarrett winning a national championship as Florida State's baseball coach. Do you share that feeling?
I think he's got a great shot to. If I was putting money on it, I would say it's more likely that he will than he won't. But we all know this sport, man. It's just ridiculous. And so there's so much luck that goes involved with what happens out there. But yeah, man, he checks off all the boxes. I mean, he's obviously a really good evaluator of talent. He's obviously an excellent coach, an excellent game plan coach. Does a great job in terms of fundamentals. He's everything you'd want. There's nothing, a lot of times you have a head coach, even if they're a really good head coach, there's one thing that you'd say, you know what, I wish they had that. I mean, there's really nothing you can point to with Link Jarrett. I think he's done a masterful job, and it's amazing in year 2 that they're going to Omaha.
Yeah, I hated when I was watching Florida build up through the ability to recruit arm after arm after arm, and I remember at one point, I think Tom and I finished a show one day, and I just said to him, I go, you know it and I know it. They're going to win the national championship at some point. And they had a couple of moments where baseball was just baseball, and they got beat. But you felt like if they kept stockpiling, it was going to happen. Like the approach was the right approach, and it pissed me off because I hated to see that happen. I think if I don't like Florida State, if I'm watching this from afar and I hate Florida State baseball for some reason, I'm thinking, well, damn it, man. They got him one. They got him a dude. They got him a guy that's got it right. He knows how to build. He knows what to say. He seems unwavering. He's got an attention to detail that is second to none. And like you said, I think that he can recognize good coaching. Like he loses members of his staff and turns right around and gets guys to come in here, and they're just as good, if not better, than before. I mean, it's awesome to watch. I think Florida State, if you're a Florida State baseball fan, you should feel as confident as you can in the sport of baseball that one of these times before he leaves, they're going to win this thing.
Yeah, and I also loved the way he talks about wanting a national championship, and that's not new. Any coach that would ever coach at Florida State is going to make the same comment about, we got to do the one thing we've never done before. We've got to finish the deal. We've got to win it in Omaha. That's natural. Everybody's going to say that, and it's standard and it's fine. But when he says it, including when he said it on Sunday, he says it with an anger and a purpose to where you could tell, man, I think that drives him every day. Like, I think he's insulted by the fact that he didn't win one as a player, that 11 never won as a coach, that this program's never won one, and he's going to do everything he can to get it. And to your point, man, like I think that will drive him no matter how many years he's coaching here. Like, I think sometimes, as we get older, you kind of put things in perspective in life and maybe don't work quite as many hours in certain situations. I think from what we've seen right now, like, I think that is an intense fire burning inside of him, and that's going to be good for Florida State.
Well, it's funny, too, because I think back to the years where I watched nonsense programs like Coastal Carolina win a national championship. Right. And, you're watching that, and you're like, really? Coastal Carolina? Okay. I mean, it was insulting enough when Florida did it because they were the inferior program for 40 years and then won it. You always had to tip your cap to Miami. But, I mean, when Coastal and Fresno State and BS programs like that lucked into national titles, you're like, okay, this is just being spit in the face. I can only imagine. I felt that was a fan. I can only imagine what it feels like for a guy that was an All-American, that is an elite coach and an elite player who has a passion for the program. So I think you're right that is the burning desire. And I bet you it would remind me of the kind of thing back in the day. Phil Mickelson used to always be asked why it was that he hadn't won a major. And he finally snapped one day at the dais and said, guys, I'm not trying to win a major. I'm trying to win 5 or 6 majors. I'm not trying, that's, to me, that's Link, right? I'm not trying to win a national championship. I'm trying to win a handful of national championships. Yeah.
And I thought, some of the things in the way he manages impressed me a little bit. There were a couple of things like when the situation, and I'm not talking about tactical stuff. Obviously, he's got all that stuff down. But the way he defends his guys, there was a little incident in the game with Cam Smith and the pitcher. And, we can debate who was right or who was wrong, or they're probably both a little bit wrong. But I like the way that Link comes right out to defend his guy to the umpires. And he's done that several times. Like, he does not look like a red hat. He doesn't look like Mike Martin in his early days. Or other coaches you see out there, the guy at NC State, or some of these coaches that are just wildfires. They run out and start getting the screaming matches all the time. That's not like Jarrett, but when he has to defend his players, man, he stands strong and defends his guys. And I think that resonates with them. And yeah, I mean, the more you watch him manage, the more you watch him lead this program, just the more and more impressed you are. Just not even just the wins, but obviously the wins are coming too. By the way, just as an aside, because you and I have had the conversation both on this show or in private or even on, of course, Seminole Headlines, this is the best college baseball's looked in a long time, man. So many riveting games, engaging games like that. The ratings for this postseason already have to be worlds better than they've been. The sport took a big leap forward. I feel like whatever they've done now with the ball, I think we found a sweet spot. Like, I think we're in a place now where you're seeing runs scored, but it's not ridiculous like it was maybe in the 90s. But it's not 2-1. It's not boring. You're not having the pitchers throw to first base 27 times in a bat. You're not seeing the batters take a half hour to get ready to go in the box. Like, they've sped the game up enough. And then there also is still some life in the ball. You're seeing these big home run numbers, which I don't think it's borderline. Like, it's probably borderline. They don't need to juice it anymore. No, they don't. but I think they found a pretty sweet spot right now where, teams have a puncher's chance, and I think it makes all these games competitive. Now, again, I may speak a different tune if Tennessee hits 8 bombs, but I don't think that's going to happen in Omaha. But yeah, I mean, I just think it feels like it's found a fun spot in the game. And thankfully, it's at a time where Florida State's good again because, honestly, for a few years there, I wouldn't have known if college baseball was good because I just couldn't stomach to watch anybody else play. Yeah, it's certainly not lost on me that perhaps this renewed vigor I feel for the sport coincides with Florida State mattering again. But I actually do believe it has been more engaging. I think you're right. They better not juice it anymore because we will go back to 15-14, and I don't want to see that. It's getting close right now, but yeah, it definitely doesn't need to go anymore.